Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm excited because we are going to be making some mini stamps and we're going to turn them into mini cards. I'm using this postage seal and shaker collection with the smallest postage stamp, and it also cuts out this inside piece. And so I'm going to do a fall blend that is a little bit out of the ordinary. I thought it would be fun to try these colors today, and we're using antique linen, salvaged patina, and uncharted mariner for our fall blend. And you can see I'm just taking a blending brush and that inside piece of the postage stamp, and I'm going to blend these three colors on the background. I do think that this is a fun color combination for fall, a little bit unexpected, but still kind of the darker shades. I don't know, I just thought it would be fun. So I do love how these turned out. I'm going to make more than one, by the way. So this is the first one, and I'm going to just show you on the first one the blend. Now that we've got that ink blended, I will bring in a stencil, and this one is the Card Suits stencil. There's 4 different designs. I love them all, and today I thought I would go with this one. I don't know why I didn't choose the heart, but it's okay. I love this one too, and I'm just going to ink blend the same colors right over the top. Now look how beautiful this design is. There's like a filigree design inside. By blending those same colors, we get a tone on tone look, and that's perfect for the background of our stamp. So that's going to start the design for us. Now I'm going to ink on these other 3 panels. So you can see I did that off screen just to save time. And now I'm going to bring in this sweater weather or knit stencil here. I am going to tape down this background and ink blend on the same colors once again. So we're going to get another tone on tone look, this time with a different stenciled look to the background. And I love this sweater look. It's perfect for this time of year. I'm in Arizona, so we're not breaking out the sweaters just yet, but I'd love to hear if any of you are wearing sweaters already. All right, so there's that background, and that's going to be the start of that postage stamp, but we're going to build these up. And for this one, I thought I would turn it upside down and bring out this layering stencil here, which has different elements that you can create on your lattes. But in this one, there's a little pumpkin, and I just thought it would be cool for a little scene here. There are some smaller elements to this pumpkin, little tiny lines. So a pouncing tool like this or a finger dauber really worked well for me for this one. So if you find that your blending brush is making those little lines move too much, then use a little pouncer or a finger dauber. There we go. I finished off that pumpkin in those blues, and then I'm going to take the leaf design and add that to the top portion. So I'm using the antique linen for the top, but then I'm also going to bring it down and bring in a little bit of that salvaged patina as well. Look how pretty this little fall scene is. Now I am imagining that we are creating some little postage stamps. And if I were to design postage stamps, what would the images be that I would use on them? I don't know if you can guess. I'll tell you in just a minute. But I did like designing all of these. I'm kind of addicted to it right now. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I've been creating mini postage stamps for quite some time, and I love to create them. So these are my fall postage stamps. And for this one, I thought I'd bring in this stamp set that has the mushrooms and the leaves and just kind of a scene in and of itself. This is from the Alice collection. I'm going to stamp this on with some Versamark ink. So that's the clear sticky ink. And then I'm going to bring in some embossing glaze that's a little transparent. So you'll see right through it to that background still. It's not going to really shout out that we used embossing powder. It's just going to be a real subtle in the background. And this is such a pretty color here. I think this is the speckled egg. I'm not sure. I'll link that below if I can remember. Now I'm just going to heat set that and look at that beautiful glow we get. So see that? It's so pretty. So there's the backgrounds for all our stamps, and now it's time to bring in some images. And of course, I'm bringing in the Alice collection. I couldn't resist. I love this collection so much, and I think I probably create cards monthly. I don't know, quite a bit. But this Queen of Hearts was begging to be colored up in those fall colors. So I'm showing you here the colors on the screen that I'm using. And I previously colored this, but it was too light. So I'm bringing in more of those shades to darken it up. So these are the same shades I colored at the beginning, but now I'm adding a little bit more just to make it pop off that background. So I am going to leave in a little bit of the coloring. You can see I already colored up the hedgehogs, and I just lightly colored that flamingo. And I think she's turning out great. She's going to look great on one of those postage stamps. I've already colored up the white rabbit below, holding a little pocket watch. And then I'm going to color up this white rabbit and the King of Hearts here. I've added some dots with some cool gray to the trim of his coat, but now I'm bringing in a Sharpie and adding some little tiny black dots, and I think that brings out the design. I love the look anyway, so I just wanted to show you that I brought those in. It might be too small for you to see here, but you'll probably be able to see it a little better in the pictures at the end. So now that I have everything colored up, I'm going to cut these out with the coordinating dies. It's so nice to have these for a quick cut because look at this one with the pocket watch. I think that would be a little tricky to cut around. So I do have the dies for these ones, and I'm going to place them on the backgrounds that I think they'll look the best on. So the Queen of Hearts is going to go here along with her hedgehogs. I think that is so cute and beautiful fall colors. There we go. Now I'll cut out the rest of the images and place them where I think, and then we're going to start building up these to look like real postage stamps. I think the king will look great on this background. The white rabbit I'm going to put over here next to the pumpkin. And the last one that is late, I'll put him in front of those mushrooms. So this is great. Now I also had some dies cut out that are these cancellation marks, and I'm going to bring in this postmarks stamp set and pull a few of those stamps to use on these backgrounds. So I'm going to stamp those first before I add the cancellation marks, and I'm going to stamp them in the same distress ink that we used on part of the background. So this is the Uncharted Mariner. So you can see on this one, I've stamped one of the stamps that says first class. I used one of those circles and then the 25 cents on the top. It's hard to read here on the video, but you'll see that a little bit closer up soon. And then I thought the cancellation marks were a little too stark white, so I'm going to bring in a color of the Copic markers that we used to color up the images. This is the mid-tone color, and I'm just going to color them up, and look how good they look on that background now. So I'll glue these down just like so and leave a little bit off the edge, and then I'm going to trim that off, all the excess. So we'll line those up, and I love the dimension that this adds to the stamp, and trim off those excess. I'm keeping those though because I think I can use those on another one of these postage stamps. For the king, I'm going to pop him up with some foam adhesive, just like this. And he's going to look great on that background. Look at how cute that is. So I have a smaller card size here. I think it ended up being just a tiny bit smaller than the stamp, but I do need to trim off a little bit from that edge just to make it fit. So it's just a little under 3 inches. So I think I cut it down to about 2 3/4, or 2 7/8 maybe even. I'm just going to trim that, you can see, just to make it fit a little bit better. So these are mini size cards, and I just love the size of them. Now you could just design these mini stamps and create your own booklet for them. You could be a stamp collector like my dad was. He collected all kinds of stamps, but mostly Disney stamps like Mickey Mouse, Goofy, those kinds of things. He loved collecting those. So this just reminds me of my dad a little bit. I'll glue that on to the card base, mini card, and look at that. I love it. I love how these are turning out. I'm going to tape this closed so you can see it a little bit better. Look at that. There's our first one done. So let's go ahead and add our stamps to these other ones. For this one, I'm going to bring in the croquet stamp set, and there's a little stamp in there that says "Sending hedgehogs your way," which I thought was cute to go with this particular design. And then of course the Queen of Hearts deserves a 50-cent stamp up there, so that's going to go there. And then I'll also stamp that circle stamp on as well, leaving a little bit of room for the cancellation. Now when I put this in, I accidentally changed where that hedgehog's stamp went. I wish I would have raised it a little further up so that I had more room for a hedgehog to actually fit. But it's okay, we're going to make it work as well. And you can see I did stamp that circle stamp off the edge because I wanted to leave enough room for the Queen of Hearts. So just make these work for you. You can do them any way you want. And I am taping them together, so you'll see I taped the background to the postage frame, and that just helps me to place it on the card base correctly. So let's add the Queen of Hearts with some foam adhesive. She looks good right about there. And then we'll add a couple of these hedgehogs, and also I think those smaller cancellation lines will fit perfectly, so I'm going to glue those on as well. And they're already cut, so I'll just leave them just that size, and that's going to work out perfect. Just like this. There we go. All right, so this hedgehog I think can fit right there, but see how I wish I had a little more room between the sentiment and that little guy? It's okay. We're going to make it work. And then I did add a little bit of foam adhesive to the bottom of that hedgehog, and then liquid adhesive to glue them to the top. And then I'll add this to the card base, the mini card, just like that. And there we go. We have our first two stamps created. Look at that. And look how fun these are to make. Now I'm going to quickly go through these last ones, adding a couple stamps here and there. That airmail stamp was a little bit hard to read on the dark background, so I am going to go in with some black ink for that part, and I'll heat emboss it with clear embossing powder over the top as well, so that doesn't smear. For these cancellation marks, I colored them a little bit darker than the first set. So these ones are going to be a little more apparent. So it's fun to mix it up just a little bit, see what you like. And we'll add that little rabbit just like that. There we go. That looks great. And I'll add that to the card base as well. And for the last one, I've already stamped on the Forever stamp, and then the little circle, and of course a 10-cent mark on this one. Now that Forever, I did have to stamp it with some archival ink so that I could get a really clean, nice stamp on it. And that allowed me to stamp over the embossing glaze. So here's a look at all of our stamps. I just love these. I love creating them. I love how they turned out. I'd like to offer you a challenge to create some stamps of your own using your favorite sets. Now you might ask yourself, wait a minute, there is not a single Alice to be found on any of these sets. But don't worry, because I'm already making some Christmas stamps with Alice. They will be Christmas themed instead of fall. And perhaps I'll make a little collector's item booklet to go with it. I think that would be so fun. So I will have that to share soon. Also, I hope you enjoyed this video today. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with more card making inspiration and other paper crafting inspiration as well. We'll see you then. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.